Hello Stampers, welcome back to Mrs. Lincoln's Inkin and another Friday video. Today we are going to be making this little chapstick holder. I think that this is a great gift if you are hosting a workshop or just a little gathering and you want to give everybody a little individual thank you. You can set it right in front of their seat, and then when they get there, when they open it up, no chapped lips. So let's go ahead and get started on today's project. First, what you're going to need is we are using the Framelit Labels collection, and we are using dies 2 and 3. So when I count my dies, I always count from the largest to the smallest. So die 2 right here, and die 3, if it wants to come out, right here. Alright, so let's go ahead and grab the Big Shot. Okay, so now you need just a piece of scrap paper for your base, and I am using the basic gray today, and the base is going to be number 2 framelit, so the largest of the 2 framelits that we're using today. We're just going to place our framelit on our cardstock, it doesn't matter where, and we're going to run it through our Big Shot. Perfect. Get that out of there. Alright, so now it should look like this. So there's the base. And then I am using a piece of DSP, and I'm using the Watercolor Wonder, which is available right now in the Occasions Mini. And this is what we are going to use our number 3 framelit, so the smallest of the 2 we're using today. And we're going to run this through the Big Shot as well. There we go. And there we go. Alright, so now we have our 2 framelits cut out. Let's get the Big Shot out of the way here. Okay, so now we have our large base and our DSP. So now we're going to grab the Simply Scored. There's lots of tools being used today. We're going to start with the base, and for the base of the DSP, what you're going to do is you're going to, let me move you in just a little bit so I can make sure you can see what I'm doing here. There we go, that looks good. So you want to line this point up right there at the 2.5 inch mark. Now this is where I find that it's easier for me, is at 2.5, and you are going to have a little bit of space here. It's not going to be all the way to the side. It's going to be right at 2.5. And then what I like to do is just take my stylus, put it in the 2.5 inch mark, and just follow down very lightly, not even making, you know, a line or anything. If you do though, it's okay because it's not going to be seen. But then that lets me know that I'm in the same, you know, I'm in the same thing there. There we go. And I just moved it, so let me make sure again that I'm right. Okay, so then once we have it lined up, we're going to make a score mark at 2, making sure to get over that lip right there, and then at 3. Perfect. So now it looks like that. Pretty simple. Okay, so now we're going to take our DSP piece. We're going to set this up again at 2.5. I'm going to take my stylus and go down, make sure I'm in the same spot, which I am. Now I'm going to make a line again at 2, remembering not to push as hard because the DSP isn't as tough as the cardstock. And then at 3. There we go. So now, I don't know if you can really see those lines on this. Oh, you can see them a little bit better on that side. So that's what it looks like. Okay, so let's get the Simply Scored out of the way for a second. Let me move you back out here. There we go. Okay, so now what I like to do is I'm going to take my DSP and I'm going to take my snail, and I'm just going to snail up the back, making sure to get it nice and glued. You could also use Tumbo glue or red sticky, whichever you prefer, but I find that with the DSP on the base, the snail works just fine. So what I'm going to do is line up these score marks that I made on my DSP with the score marks that are here on my base. That's also going to help me line up the peaks of my labels right there. So once I get those where I think they're pretty much lined up, I'm just going to put them down. Now with doing the DSP this way, now when you fold the base of your cardstock, the DSP folds really nicely right with you. It makes a nice clean edge. On this one, I didn't score the DSP, and I don't know if you can see it, but when I folded it, it kind of made some wear and tear on the DSP because there were no score lines to help it there. So I find that if you score the DSP first, it gives you a cleaner fold right there. Just my personal opinion, but you can do it however you want to. Okay, so now for the box part of our card, we need a piece of cardstock cut at 2 by 3 3/4. We're going to get our Simply Scored out one more time. Now with the 2-inch side at the top, we're going to score at 5/16, so that's 5 dashes, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's the first dash mark after the 1/4 of an inch, and then we're going to score at 1, come in here at 2 and count in 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's actually 1 3/16. So you can either count 3 from the 1 or you can count 5 in from the 2, whichever you prefer. So there is that. Then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to flip it around and we're going to make a score mark at 1/2 inch, or I'm sorry, 3/4 of an inch, and then 3 inches. Blech, had to think for a second. Let me make sure I did that right. Okay, it's going to be at 3 inches and then 1/4 of an inch. I'm so sorry to be so confusing. 1/4 of an inch and then 3 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so mine has a little bit of an extra line, but it's okay. So I'll have all the measurements again on my blog, but again, it's 1/4 of an inch, and then it's going to be 3 1/4 of an inch. Okay, see, we all make mistakes sometimes. So we're going to come in here and take our paper snips, and now I have to remember what score line is what here. Okay, which is that first one in. So we're going to take our paper snips and we're going to cut this score line like this up to that score line right there. And we're going to come over here and we're going to do the exact same thing up to that one score line. Come over here on the other side and do the same thing right here and right here. So now we have little flappies. There we go. Now for this part I would use the red sticky strip, but for today I'm just using the snail for sake of the video. And then you're just going to fold your sides up like that. So I'm just going to take some adhesive here. And then fold these up. And actually, I think I want to put my sticky on the outside. Just like that. And I already put sticky on that side. Today is just not my day for videos apparently, but this is my 4th attempt on this video. Something has always happened. The dog's been barking or the phone's been ringing. So now you just get to see the raw video with all of the mistakes in it, where I would normally stop and start over again. Okay, then we're just going to come over here and put sticky on this one too. Which, if I was thinking I would have done this while I was doing the other one, but I was too busy telling you about all the mistakes that I've made. Okay, so then we go in here, and then there we go. There's our little box. So our chapstick should fit in there. Dun 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 dun. Perfect. Okay, so now back to our base here. What you want to do is you just want to close your base up a little bit, and I'm using just a tiny hole punch. You want to hold it together, or you could put some sticky strip down first. Let's go ahead and do that first. And I have no idea where my sticky strip went, so I'm just going to grab this extra one that I have right here. Cut off a little teeny tiny piece and then put it right here at the top, just like that. Peel off the backing and then close it, and then that way you can make sure that it's even. Just like that. Perfect. So now I'm going to take my little hole punch, and I'm just going to randomly punch some holes because I want to put some ribbon in here for my little bow. So I'm just going to punch them enough so my ribbon can get in there. You could also use your paper piercer if you wanted. You could just come in here and pierce it down and then kind of turn it around like this, whichever works easier for you. So now we have that little hole in there. So I'm going to grab my basic black taffeta ribbon. Just going to cut off a little section here. Feed it through that hole that I just made. If I can get it through. Maybe. Whew, geez Louise. Oh my goodness. Jeez. Okay, and then I'm just going to tie it in a bow. Like this. And then tie another knot in it. Like that. Flag my edges real fast here. Like that, and then like that. And then my chapstick fits right in there like that. Whew, now that was a project. So there is the finished one. And then here is the one from before. Well, I appreciate you guys sticking through with me to the end of the video. I really hope that you enjoyed. And until next time, happy inking!